The Oculus Quest has really impressed me because ever since its release, developers have been wasting no time to bring over solid PC experiences to it. We've had some fan favorite quality titles like Beat Saber and Super Hot make its way over, essentially being the exact same game and sometimes even playing better on the Quest. But now we have a little more of an interesting example of what developers are doing to bring games over, and that brings us to Sairento VR. This just came out a few days ago. I have been playing it for hours and I'm going to give you my impressions on it. Let's talk about it.
Got that chop, got that stick, bitch, I'm trapping these. Ramen noodles on my dick when I'm clapping cheeks. Going stupid in the whip cause I cannot see. Tryna bring your dog, then you better bring that cutlery. Get into the chips, hunt is blue like the Doraemon. Nice guy, but I spit flames like I'm Iroh. Talking at your neck, I bring the drum. Tycho, lames get to speaking, know what's up, bitch, Ohio.
Sairento VR takes place in Neo Tokyo, not to be confused with the Half-Life mod, and you are this cybernetic ninja thing tasked with destroying other cybernetic ninja things. There's kind of a campaign on the PC version, but there isn't on this one, but we'll get into that in a minute. You have the ability to scale and run on walls, jump off of buildings, backflip, dual-wield SMGs, use swords, and right off of the bat, this game reminded me a lot of Shadow Warrior. Even if you go back to the classic Shadow Warrior, you were playing as this ninja who was dual-wielding SMGs at the same time as swords. And this game gives me a really similar vibe. I would not be surprised at all if they took inspiration from this game, but it's a really cool concept and aesthetic that I wish a lot more games kind of brought into their titles. It's a theme that doesn't take itself too seriously, although this game definitely has kind of a more serious tone than, say, something like Shadow Warrior. It makes for some really fun gameplay moments. The actual gameplay and movement in this game is exactly like its PC counterpart. Your main source of movement is teleportation, and you can use this to wall run, scale off of walls, jump back and forth, pull out guns from your shoulders, your hips, and from behind you, as well as doing things to help with the fluidity like crouching down after a fall to go into a slide to keep your momentum going. There's a brief tutorial that takes you through the basics of the movement system and the gameplay, but honestly I've spent hours in it and I'm still not very good at it. It's going to take you a while to master this Spider-Man-like swinging that you have to do throughout this game. The game actually has a ton of comfort and control options for the movement system, which honestly I don't even really know what half of them do, but it's there. The game introduces really neat mechanics like being able to throw your arms up to do a backflip, which will definitely make you motion sick the first couple of times you do it, but when you're able to actually nail the movement system, it really feels satisfying. There's constant ways to keep changing up your gameplay style. The game encourages you to have different difficulty options to go for. It has some random challenges mixed in with the game modes that you play, and there is a slew of different weapon options to play with. You got everything from assault rifles to SMGs to pistols to swords to throwables that don't really work that great, but they're there if you want to use them. You got a bow and arrow that's really fun to use in slow motion. There's also different unlocks that you get while you're playing and a progression system where you can level up different abilities and things of that nature, which I don't really understand right now. It kind of confuses the hell out of me. But if you're looking to one-up every gameplay session you do and unlock different abilities and stuff, that's there. The main game modes is get through this wave of enemies or assassinate this boss battle that you have to fight at the end of a certain amount of waves, but there's also an endless mode where you just kind of fight an onslaught of different hordes until you die. If you're looking for a good narrative story, you're not going to find it in this game, but if you're just looking for some quick, mindless arcade action, that's definitely what you come to this game for. Alright, so now let's talk about some of the things that make it different from its PC counterpart, because unlike Super Hot and Beat Saber, there's quite a bit of differences here. So like I said before, the movement system and the way the game actually plays is exactly the same to the PC version as far as I know for the most part. The amount of weapons and everything I believe are all there. I haven't played the PC version so I can't attest to this, but from the gameplay that I've seen, it looks like it's all there. But you're gonna notice graphically this is pared back quite a bit. There's no post-processing effects, there's no shaders or shadows going on. It's very simple graphically. It almost looks like it's comparable to a PS2 game, but to be honest with you, I kind of like this. This isn't probably necessarily the art style they were going for, but I really kind of like when developers take the approach of giving the games more of a retro look, so I feel like this could kind of fill an art style on its own. That's not the problem that I have with this here. What I kind of do have a problem with here is the maps. Now to be clear here, this game is $15. I believe that's half the price of the PC version, so it's priced pretty fair. Honestly, this is not a bad game to be picking up for $15. But when it comes to the maps, maps, they're definitely not all created equal here. You only get a selection of 5 maps. I think there's like 11 or 12 in the PC version. So when it comes to the map variety, you're getting quite a lot less here. The 2 maps I really do like is the shipping container yard map and the subway map. The subway map has a lot of the oriental flair that really encapsulates the mood of this game, but the rest of the maps really don't do it for me, especially this one warehouse map. I mean, this really feels like they just threw it together in an hour. I'm not a map designer, but it doesn't take you but a minute to realize that there's not a whole lot going on in this one. I had fun with it, honestly, but it just doesn't really have a lot. It's just bland warehouse, and there's just a couple of different platforms, and that's about it. This game is supposed to be set in Neo Tokyo. Why am I not being able to jump off of rooftops? I want to be going through the city streets. I want to see bright neon lights. And really, the subway map is really the only thing that kind of has this going in it. The maps aren't bad. I just wish there was more of that Neo Tokyo feel to it, because the PC version definitely has a little bit more of that. Also, ramping up the difficulty helps with this quite a bit, but sometimes the AI just kind of feels stupid. I've kind of noticed bots just mindlessly walking around and jumping back and forth on a platform, or not figuring out how to get around the wall where I'm standing, but that wasn't a huge deal, especially when you ramp up the difficulty. The whole point of this game is to have the power fantasy of being the super cybernetic ninja thing, but I figured I might as well mention that. Also, this could just be because I suck, but there was times that I just cannot get the movement down. I noticed I couldn't really teleport if I was standing too close to a wall, and when I would try to go for backflips, a lot of the time I just kind of missed the mark. And again, this could just because I suck, but sometimes I just kind of got taken out of it. But all in all, I don't want you to think that this is a bad game. This is not a bad buy for 15 bucks, especially if you like these type of games and you've been looking for more intense shooting titles on the Quest. The graphics are pared back, but the freedom of movement is why you're playing the Quest. We all know this. I did try to reach out to the developers to see if more content was on the way, and they said it's something planned, but nothing's definitive yet. All in all, I think the gameplay is really solid. You're going to spend a lot of time trying to perfect your movement. It's really easy to just drop in and out of a game quickly, and it's a really fun experience. I just wish it had more maps to complement that Neo Tokyo vibe it's going for. But that is my opinion on Sairento VR for the Oculus Quest. If you want to see my take on some other VR titles, or if you just want to see my review on the entire Quest itself, you can check that out in my VR playlist. If you enjoyed this video by now, maybe subscribe and check out some of my other playlists to see if it's something you'd like. If you really like my videos and you want to help support me, I have a Patreon down below. Not a big deal if you don't support it, but if you do, it allows me to put more stuff into my videos, and that is always good for everybody. But that's all I got, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. It's been C, and I'm out.